Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Richard Cruz, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Commander Heidi Rossendell. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. And during this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you're able, could I ask you to please stand and join in singing the national anthem. If you're able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record they themselves made. Tonight we read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private William Polden. William Polden was born on the 18th of May 1890 to George and Emma Polden of Mount Pleasant, South Australia. He attended Mount Pleasant Public School and went on to work as a clerk. He was well known in the district as a successful athlete and was a prominent member of the Mount Pleasant Football Club, winning the gold medal for the best all-rounder player in 1914. William Polden enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force shortly after the outbreak of the war in 1914. He was posted to the newly formed 16th Battalion, 1/4 of whom, like Polden, came from South Australia, while the remaining 3/4 came from Western Australia. The two parts of the battalion were united in Victoria, where the unit continued training as a whole battalion. The 16th Battalion left Australia for active service overseas on Boxing Day in 1914. After a brief stop in Albany, Western Australia, they proceeded to Egypt, where the men continued training in the desert for some weeks. On the morning of the 25th of April 1915, the 16th Battalion sailed from the island of Lemnos in splendid weather, with the faint sounds of firing from the land of Anzac Cove audible on the breeze. The battalion itself began landing in the evening and disembarkation under ceaseless fire that continued the next day. The situation on Gallipoli remained uncertain for the following days. The 16th joined the other Australian battalions on Gallipoli in establishing a strong forward line on the heights above Anzac Cove. The work was hectic, and a considerable number of the battalions mixed in together, particularly those that had taken part in the initial landing. By the 1st of May, the situation was beginning to stabilise, and for the first time, men of the 16th Battalion were allowed time to bathe in small groups in the sea. At some point on this day, however, it appears that Private William Polden was wounded. Polden's family were informed by telegram that he was wounded, but they received no further information from military authorities, nor from their son. They continued writing to him weekly, but heard nothing. Private Polden's fate remained somewhat obscure. At some point, his file was marked, wounded and missing, and no evidence or admission to any hospital was found. The following year, in a court of inquiry in Serapeum, determined that Private Polden had in fact been killed in action on the 1st of May 1915, but his manner of death is unknown. Private Polden's body has never been located, and today he is commemorated on the Lone Pine Memorial on Gallipoli. He was 25 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph today is displayed beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private William Polden, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes this evening's last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.